All right, let's get right into it. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we are going on a highly aromatic culinary journey. Today, we're unlocking the sensory secrets to making authentic, mouth-watering chicken mandi right in your own kitchen. If you've ever had mandi at a traditional restaurant, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You've got that incredibly tender meat, the richly spiced rice, and that unmistakable, deeply satisfying smoky flavor that seems almost impossible to replicate at home. Well, it turns out it's definitely not impossible. In this explainer, we're diving into the source material to break down this traditional recipe step by step, transforming some pretty complex flavors into a clear, visual guide that's going to have you cooking this masterpiece like a total pro. So here is the roadmap for our culinary adventure today. We'll start with the perfect marinade secret, talk about the importance of marinating time, prep the cooking base, look at cooking on low heat, prepare the rice, and finally finish off with a magical smoked touch. Okay. Part 1, the perfect marinade secret. This is all about building deep flavors. The source reveals this incredible, precise balance of wet and dry ingredients you need to build a really vibrant paste. Just look at this lineup. We're talking a robust blend of ground mixed spices, some earthy black cumin, and a massive spoonful of crushed garlic and ginger. Then you've got a cup of yogurt to tenderize the meat and the juice of 3 large lemons to cut right through that richness. This specific combo, the creaminess, the acidity, the earthy spices, it basically acts as the ultimate flavor vehicle for your chicken. Now for the fun part, bringing it all together in 3 easy steps. First up, you just mix those spices, the yogurt, and the lemon into a nice, uniform paste. Step 2, you gotta get your hands dirty. The recipe emphasizes coating literally every single part of the chicken. I'm talking under the skin, inside the belly, all over the outside. Leave absolutely no spot untouched. Finally, you drop some lemon zest and whole green peppers straight into the bowl. Those release these amazing essential oils and just a tiny bit of heat that the chicken soaks right up as it sits.
Moving on to part 2, the importance of marinating time. Because honestly, patience is key here.
Right here is the absolute golden rule from the creator. You need to let that chicken sit in the marinade for, quote, 3 to 4 hours minimum or a whole night. Look, I totally get it. It's super tempting to rush things when it already smells this good, right? But patience really is your secret ingredient. The acidity from the lemon and yogurt actually needs that time to break down the proteins. That's how you get that melt-in-your-mouth texture, while the garlic, ginger, and spices penetrate deep into the meat. So leaving it covered in the fridge overnight, that is definitely the way to go for the best possible results. All right, part 3, preparing the cooking base. Let's transition over to the stove. Now, before we start assembling, the source makes a really crucial distinction about the spices. Notice how we used ground spices for the marinade so they'd easily dissolve into the meat? Well, for the cooking pot base, we are strictly using whole spices. This is absolutely vital. You see, a long braise with ground spices can lead to burning and bitterness. Whole spices, though, they'll slowly toast at the bottom, releasing all those fragrant essential oils without scorching. Following that rule, building your base is super simple but highly effective. You just layer the bottom of a large pot with sliced onions, some sliced potatoes, and those whole spices. What this does is create a physical, flavorful barrier. It protects the chicken from the direct heat at the bottom so it doesn't scorch. Plus, as those veggies cook, they release moisture that gently steams the meat from below. It's brilliant. Which brings us to part 4, cooking on low heat. Time to braise that chicken. This timeline maps out the cooking phase perfectly. At minute 0, you take that beautifully marinated chicken and place it directly onto your vegetable bed. A quick pro tip from the source here. Place it belly down and pour whatever marinade is left in the bowl right over the top. Then cover it tightly and keep the heat low. At the 30-minute mark, carefully open the pot and flip the chicken so it gets completely even heat distribution. Finally, at 60 minutes, your chicken is going to be wonderfully tender, fully cooked, and ready to be set aside.
Next up, part 5, preparing the rice, the essential companion to our chicken.
Now, I know it's tempting to just throw the rice into the same pot, but the traditional method from our source actually dictates cooking the rice entirely separately. You boil it independently with a very precise amount of salt and whole spices, which gives you total control over the texture. By cooking it until it's perfectly tender and then immediately turning off the heat, you make sure every single grain stays distinct and fluffy. You definitely don't want it turning mushy from all those heavy chicken juices.
And now, part 6, the magical smoke touch. This is the grand finale.
This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Mandi is traditionally cooked outdoors in a tandoor-like oven dug straight into the ground, fueled by burning wood or charcoal. And that environment is what imparts that deep, earthy, campfire smoke into the food. So how in the world do we capture that ancient, authentic flavor when we're just standing in our modern indoor home kitchens?
The answer is this brilliant traditional technique called tabkir, or smoking. Here's how you do it. You heat a small piece of natural charcoal until it's literally glowing red hot. Then, place your cooked chicken right on top of your perfectly cooked rice inside a large pot. Nestle a small foil cup or even a hollowed-out onion skin right in the center and drop that hot coal inside. Add just a tiny spoonful of oil directly onto the coal, and instantly, bam! Thick aromatic smoke is going to billow out. You just slam the lid shut to trap it all in. This aggressive permeation replicates that underground oven in a matter of minutes. It is honestly a culinary magic trick.
Which leaves us with this final, inspiring thought from our text. What other traditional home-cooked meals could you elevate by mastering this simple indoor smoking technique? Just imagine using this exact same coal trick on a batch of roasted vegetables, a slow-cooked stew, or maybe even some grilled fish. Once you master these basic techniques, the precise marinades, the patience, and that magical smoke, your home cooking is never going to be the same. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer today, and hey, happy cooking!